The cold wind moved across the empty human settlement like a sad whisper. Dust rolled along the cracked road, and old metal signs shook softly as if warning anyone who walked there. Soraya, the starving alien widow, walked slowly with her thin steps. Her legs trembled. Her stomach ached painfully. Her glowing blue eyes were half closed because she had not eaten for many days. She kept one hand on her chest, trying to keep herself warm. Her scarf was torn. Her clothes were old and covered in dirt. Even the air seemed afraid to touch her. She looked around, but every house she passed felt unfriendly. Lights turned off quickly. Curtains dropped fast. People hid from her. Humans feared her species after the war, even though Soraya had never hurt anyone. She tried to speak to someone once. She knocked on a small fruit shop door. The owner stepped out, saw her glowing skin, and shouted at her to go away. His voice shook with fear, but his eyes carried hatred. Soraya didn't argue. She simply lowered her head and walked away slowly. She felt like she did not belong anywhere. Her planet had been destroyed. Her husband had died in the war. She had escaped with only a few pieces of clothes. And now, even on this peaceful human land, she could not find a single piece of food. She tried to sit on a wooden bench, but her body felt too weak. Her vision blurred. She stood again, hoping she could reach the forest where she could hide. But her legs would not move properly. A sudden cold wind blew harder. Dark clouds began to gather above her. A storm was forming fast. Soraya looked up at the sky as rain began to fall. Heavy drops hit her face. Her scarf got wet. She felt her strength running out. She walked until she found an old cargo truck parked near a broken fence. She crawled under it for shelter. Water poured around her. Her thin body shivered uncontrollably. She hugged her knees and closed her eyes. She whispered her husband's name softly, missing him with every breath. She believed this night would be her last, but destiny changes quietly. A small sound came from nearby soft footsteps splashing through puddles. A little human girl named Lily was walking with her small umbrella, holding her father's hand. She looked around with curious eyes. She loved exploring, even during storms. Suddenly, Lily stopped. Her gaze shifted under the cargo truck. She saw two glowing blue eyes staring back at her. Instead of fear, she felt something else, sadness. Daddy. Someone is under the truck, she said quietly. Her father, Daniel, stopped walking. He expected maybe a person hiding from rain. But when he knelt down and looked under the truck, his breath froze. He saw the alien woman curled up like a dying butterfly. Daniel pulled Lily back instantly. Fear rushed through him. He remembered the warnings. He remembered the stories. Humans should avoid her kind. But Lily did not step away. She slipped from his hand and bent down again. She whispered gently, almost like a prayer. Are you hungry? Soraya blinked slowly, surprised by the child's soft voice. No one had spoken kindly to her since the war ended. Rain kept falling. Daniel looked at the alien woman again. She was too weak to harm anyone. She looked like she hadn't eaten in days. Something inside him changed to human instinct to protect someone helpless. He whispered, Lily, come back. But Lily shook her head. She needs help, Daddy, the little girl said. Please. Daniel looked at the dying alien widow and knew he had to make a choice. Dangerous choice. A choice that would change all their lives. Rain continued to fall hard on the quiet settlement as Daniel stood frozen beside the old truck. Thunder rolled in the sky, but his mind was louder than the storm. He looked at the alien woman again. Soraya was not dangerous. She looked fragile, broken, and close to death. Her hands shook softly as she tried to pull her scarf tighter around herself. Daniel knew what the law said. Humans were not supposed to take aliens into their homes without permission. People feared them. People whispered stories. Some of those stories were true, but most were lies. Daniel had lived carefully for years, never breaking rules. But now, his daughter was staring at the alien woman with innocent, warm eyes. Lily held her small umbrella tightly and stepped closer again. "Daddy, she can't stay in the rain," Lily said. Her voice was soft, but it touched something deep inside Daniel. Daniel swallowed hard. He took one slow step forward. The woman under the truck looked at him with half-open eyes. She seemed confused, as if she did not understand why a human had returned. He reached under the truck and said in a calm voice, "We want to help you." Soraya tried to respond, but only a weak breath came out. Her body had no strength left. Daniel realized she might not survive the next hour if he did nothing. He glanced around. Windows were opening. People were watching. Rain made everything blurry, but Daniel could still see the suspicious, angry faces. They whispered to each other, pointing at him and Lily. He knew he had to choose fast. "Lily, stay close," he said. Then Daniel carefully reached both arms under the truck and lifted the alien woman. Her body was light, far lighter than he expected. He felt the bones under her skin. She was starving. She leaned her head on his shoulder, too weak to hold herself up. Lily held the umbrella over all of them. The storm made her arms shake, but she didn't move it away. As Daniel walked toward his farmhouse, doors opened wider. A neighbor shouted, "Don't bring her here. She's dangerous." Another yelled, "You have a kid. Think about her safety." Daniel ignored them. He tightened his grip on Soraya. Lily walked beside him without fear. "I'm scared," she whispered to her dad. "I know," Daniel replied. "But sometimes doing the right thing is scary." They reached the small farmhouse at the edge of the village. Daniel kicked the door open gently and laid Soraya on the couch. She looked around with slow, frightened eyes, as if she thought someone would attack her at any moment. Lily ran to the kitchen to get towels. She helped her dad remove the wet scarf from Soraya's face. Her glowing skin flickered softly, almost like a weak light bulb. "Daddy, can we give her food?" Lily asked. Daniel hesitated. It was dangerous. But letting her starve was worse. "Yes," he said quietly. Lily smiled and hurried to heat soup on the stove. The smell filled the room fast. Soraya closed her eyes and inhaled deeply, the warmth reminding her of days before the war. Daniel watched her carefully. Every small movement she made felt fragile. She held the bowl with shaking hands. Lily sat beside her, guiding her spoon gently. For the first time that night, Soraya's eyes softened with a strange emotion trust. But outside, danger was building again. A neighbor had recorded Daniel picking up the alien. He had already sent the video to the local security force, and now 2 armored patrol units were moving toward Daniel's farmhouse in the rain. Silently, without warning, a new storm was coming, and this time, it wasn't made of rain. Asterisk warm light filled the small farmhouse as Soraya sat quietly on the couch. Rain hit the window again and again, but inside the room everything felt slow and soft. Daniel watched the alien woman closely while she held the warm bowl of soup with both hands. Her long fingers trembled. Her breath was shallow. Lily sat beside her with wide eyes, waiting for Soraya to take the first sip. When Soraya finally lifted the spoon and tasted the soup, her glowing blue eyes closed gently. A small tear rolled down her cheek. She hadn't tasted warm food in weeks. Daniel stood near the table, unsure if he should speak. He still feared making a wrong move. Soraya was too weak to harm anyone, yet she belonged to a species humans had learned to fear. But watching her eat slowly, Daniel felt something strange sympathy. She looked nothing like the monster people described. Lily broke the silence first. "Do you like it?" she asked softly. Soraya opened her eyes and nodded. Her voice came out weak, cracked, almost like a whisper. "Yes, thank you." Her words surprised Daniel. He didn't expect her to speak such gentle English. Lily smiled proudly, as if she had done something huge. "Daddy made the soup," she said. Daniel felt embarrassed when Soraya looked at him with grateful eyes. He nodded once, unsure what to say. As Soraya continued eating, faint glowing lines began to appear on her arms. At first, Daniel thought it was the reflection from the lamp, but the light grew stronger. The lines moved slowly, like soft rivers of blue light under her skin. Lily gasped, "Daddy, look." Daniel stepped forward. "Are you hurt?" he asked. Soraya shook her head. "No, it happens when I feel warm. Or safe. That one word hit Daniel harder than the storm outside. Soraya placed the empty bowl on her lap. She took a long breath and leaned back. Her body looked exhausted, yet calmer. Lily immediately covered her with a blanket. Daniel sat in the chair beside them, his mind full of questions. "Why were you alone out there?" he asked softly. Soraya hesitated. Her eyes lowered. "My world is gone," she said. "My husband died in the war. My people scattered. Some ended in prisons. Some in camps. I ran." Lily's small hand held Soraya's fingers. "You can stay with us," Lily said innocently. Daniel's heart jumped. "Lily," he started, but Soraya lifted her hand weakly. "I do not want trouble," Soraya whispered. "Your people fear mine. I bring danger to your door." Daniel exhaled slowly. "Danger came because you were starving. Not because you wanted harm." Soraya looked at him, surprised by his kindness. But the peaceful moment broke suddenly. A faint buzzing sound came from outside the window. Daniel froze. Soraya felt it instantly. Her glowing marks dimmed. Her breath caught in fear. Daniel walked to the window and lifted the curtain only a little. A security drone hovered near the farmhouse roof, scanning the area with red lights. Another drone approached from the road. The rain made them look like silent hunters searching for prey. Lily ran to Daniel. "Daddy, what's happening?" Daniel pulled her close. "Someone reported us," he whispered. "They know she's here." Soraya stood up slowly, even though her legs shook. "I will leave," she said softly. "If they find me here, you and your daughter will be punished." Lily shook her head violently. "No, you're not going anywhere." Daniel stared at the two drones. They were scanning the house now. Time was disappearing. Choices were becoming dangerous. He turned to Soraya with a steady voice. "No one is going anywhere," he said. "Not tonight." Soraya's glowing eyes widened. For the first time since the war, someone was choosing to protect her. Not fear her, but outside, the drones hovered closer, and a message flashed across their screens. Bio-alert detected. Human interaction confirmed. Ground patrol activated. The real threat was just beginning. Asterisk morning arrived slowly. But the fear from last night did not leave the small farmhouse. Thin sunlight touched the wet ground, and the storm clouds drifted away, yet the air felt heavy. Daniel barely slept. Every sound outside made him stand up and check the door. Lily slept beside Soraya on the couch, holding her hand. The alien widow had grown a little stronger after eating, but her eyes still held deep exhaustion. Daniel stepped outside to get fresh air, but what he saw made his stomach tighten. Several neighbors stood across the road, whispering in a tight circle. When they saw him, they fell silent. Some folded their arms. Some frowned. One woman shook her head as if Daniel had committed a crime. He pretended not to notice, but he felt their stares burning holes into his back. Inside, Soraya sat up slowly. "Your people know I am here," she said quietly. Her voice carried both fear and guilt. Daniel nodded. "Yes. But we will handle this." Soraya looked toward the window with tired eyes. "I do not want you or your daughter to suffer because of me. I can leave before the patrol comes." "No," Daniel said instantly. "You can barely stand. If you walk alone, they will catch you within minutes." Lily woke up and rubbed her eyes. "Soraya isn't going anywhere," she said, hugging the alien's arm tightly. Daniel gave a small smile, but deep inside his worry grew. He couldn't ignore the drones from last night. Security forces did not ignore Biel. They always came back with more men. As the morning passed, more neighbors gathered. Some brought binoculars. Some took photos. A man pointed at Daniel's house and said loudly, "He's hiding one of them." I saw her glowing. "He's putting the whole village at risk." Daniel clenched his jaw. "Unbelievable," he muttered. "They didn't even see what happened. They just want someone to blame." When he returned inside, Lily sat beside Soraya, brushing her long alien hair gently. "Your hair shines like stars," Lily said. Soraya smiled faintly. It was the first real smile Daniel had ever seen from her, but the peace didn't last. Loud knock hit the door. Daniel's heart jumped. He motioned for Soraya to stay quiet. Lily grabbed Soraya's hand tightly. When Daniel opened the door halfway, 3 village men stood there. Their faces were hard. Their eyes were sharp. One stepped forward. "We need to check your house," he demanded. "We have reports of an alien hiding here. If she's dangerous, we must act before something bad happens." Daniel stood tall, blocking the doorway. "There's no danger here. And you do not have the right to search my home." The man scowled. "People are scared, Daniel. We don't want trouble. Just hand her over." "There is nothing to hand over," Daniel replied firmly. Another man whispered harshly. "Loud enough on purpose. He's protecting it. He's putting us all at risk." Soraya heard every word from inside. She wrapped the blanket tighter around herself, her markings dimming with fear. The men returned to the group and whispered angrily. Daniel closed the door and locked it tightly. "That's not good," he said. "This is turning into something worse." Soraya stood slowly, leaning on the wall. "I should leave," she whispered. "I bring danger everywhere I go." "No," Daniel said strongly. "Running won't fix anything. We will face this together." But his voice trembled on the last word. Hours passed. The tension outside grew. More men arrived. Some carried metal rods. Some carried old rifles. The village had turned into a storm of fear. Lily peeked out the window and whispered, "Daddy." "They look angry." Daniel nodded with a sinking feeling. "They'll come back at night." With more men, Soraya touched his arm gently. "Thank you for helping me, even when your own people turn against you." Daniel took a deep breath. "I don't care what they say. You needed help. That's enough for me." But deep inside, he knew the next confrontation would not be with drones. It would be with his own neighbors, and they were preparing for something violent. Asterix night returned like a dark warning. The sky turned black, and a cold wind moved across the village. Daniel locked every window and checked every door twice. Lily stayed close to Soraya, refusing to sleep. The alien widow sat silently with the blanket wrapped around her, her glowing markings faint, showing her fear. The farmhouse felt smaller, tighter, heavier than ever before. Daniel stood near the window, watching shadows move outside. The villagers who had threatened him earlier were now gathering again. Their whispers traveled through the cold night like angry insects. They wore dark clothes, carried sticks, metal bars, and old hunting guns. Their faces were hard, and their eyes showed fear disguised as anger. Lily looked up at Daniel. "Daddy, why don't they understand?" Daniel put a hand on her head. "Sometimes people attack what they don't understand," he whispered. "They think fear is safer than kindness." Soraya stared at the door with tense eyes. "They will come tonight," she said softly. "I can feel the danger. Their anger is like heat in the air." Daniel nodded. "Yes, they will come. That's why we stay together." Hours passed. The clock's ticking felt louder than breathing. Daniel turned off the lights in the house. They stayed in darkness. Only Soraya's faint blue glow lit the room. Lily held her arm tightly, refusing to let go. Then it happened. Footsteps, soft at first. Then louder. Daniel looked at Soraya. "They're here." A rock hit the side of the house with a sharp crack. Another rock smashed against the window frame. Voices rose outside. Angry, shaking, desperate voices. "She's in there. Bring her out. We won't let her kill someone." Daniel has gone crazy. Daniel's heart pounded. He grabbed his old hunting rifle. "I don't want to use this," he said, "but I will protect my home." Soraya stood up slowly, even though her legs trembled. "I can defend myself," she whispered. "I don't want anyone hurt, but I cannot let them take me." Suddenly, 3 men kicked the back door. The wood cracked. Lily screamed. Daniel aimed his rifle at the door, but didn't shoot. He waited, breathing hard, praying they would stop. They DUI'd single quotes. The door burst open, crashing against the wall. 3 attackers rushed inside with flashlights and weapons. One man pointed a metal rod straight at Soraya. "There she is," he shouted. "Grab her." Lily cried and jumped in front of Soraya, spreading her small arms to shield her. "No," she screamed. "Stop." Daniel rushed forward and tackled one attacker to the ground. They rolled on the floor, fighting. Another man swung his rod at Daniel's back. Soraya gasped, but couldn't reach him fast enough. Lily screamed again. Then something inside Soraya changed. The glowing markings on her skin pulsed like lightning. Her fear turned into a powerful force. A soft humming sound filled the room, and a burst of blue energy flashed from her hands. The attackers froze as the energy hit them. They weren't harmed permanently, but they collapsed to the floor, unconscious. Breathing but stunned, the room went silent. Daniel sat on the floor, breathing hard, shocked by what he saw. Soraya looked terrified, as if she expected Daniel to fear her now. I did not want to hurt them," she whispered. "I only wanted to stop them." Daniel stood and stepped toward her slowly. He placed a hand gently on her shoulder. "You protected my daughter," he said, "and that's all that matters." Soraya's eyes widened. A soft tear fell down her cheek. Lily hugged her tightly. "You saved us," the little girl whispered. Daniel looked at the unconscious men on the floor, then at the window where more shadows gathered outside. "This isn't over," he said. "The others will come when they see their friends didn't return." But Soraya lifted her head. Her markings glowed brighter. "I will stand with you," she said, "no matter what comes." A family was forming in the darkness, a human father, a brave child, and a starving alien widow. And outside, the biggest threat of all was preparing to strike. Asterisk. The farmhouse was silent, except for the fading sound of the wind. The 3 unconscious attackers lay on the floor, breathing weakly. Daniel moved them to one corner of the room and tied their hands with rope. Lily watched Soraya nervously, afraid the alien widow might collapse again after using her strange energy. Soraya sat on the couch, her skin glowing softly like calm water under moonlight. She held her shaking hands close to her chest. The marks on her arms dimmed slowly, like a candle losing its flame. Daniel sat across from her, breathing hard. "What was that?" he asked gently. "The light. The force you used. What is it?" Soraya lowered her eyes. "My species does not fight like humans," she said. "We do not use guns or blades. We defend through emotion." "Emotion?" Daniel repeated, confused. She nodded slowly. "When we feel fear, protection, love, our bodies react. The energy you saw comes from our hearts. It is our shield. But it only works when we feel deeply." Lily sat beside her. "So you didn't want to hurt them?" Soraya shook her head. "No, I only wanted to stop them from harming you. And when I saw them going toward Daniel and you, something inside me woke up. My species calls it the lumen bond." Daniel frowned. "What does that mean?" Soraya took a slow breath. "When one of my kind feels a strong emotional connection to someone, our bodies protect them as if they are part of us. It is rare, very rare." She touched her chest softly. "Your daughter's kindness. It saved me from death. When she held my hand, the bond began. And when you lifted me from the storm, it grew." Daniel stared at her, stunned. "So you're connected to us?" Soraya's glowing eyes lifted to his. "Yes, I feel your fear, your worry, your pain. And I respond to protect you." Lily smiled wide. "Does that mean we are like family to you?" Soraya froze. The word family hit her heart like a soft spark. A human child calling her family. After she had lost everything, her voice shook. "If you want, yes. You are the closest thing I have left." Lily hugged her tightly, her small arms wrapping around Soraya's thin body. Soraya held her gently, as if she feared breaking the child. Blue light shimmered under her skin. Daniel looked at them with warmth. But his expression slowly changed to worry, because outside, faint engine sounds echoed from the distance. He walked to the window and parted the curtain just a little. His heart dropped. 4 armored military vehicles were moving slowly down the road. Red lights flashed. Soldiers in heavy suits marched beside them. Lily saw Daniel's face pale. "Daddy, who is it?" Daniel stepped back from the window. "It's the security force. Someone reported the drone scan. They're coming for Soraya." Soraya stood, fear rising in her eyes. "No. If they find me here, they will take me away. They will punish you for hiding me." Daniel shook his head. "I won't let them take you." Soraya's markings flashed. "Daniel, your laws are strict. They do not care if I am harmless. They see my kind as enemies." Lily grabbed Soraya's hand. "We won't let them." Daniel moved quickly, grabbing a small emergency bag. "You need to hide in the basement," he said. "Just until I talk to them." Soraya looked toward the door where soldiers' shadows grew larger. "I don't want you hurt because of me," she whispered. Daniel knelt in front of her. "You didn't bring danger. Fear brought danger. And fear is wrong today." Lily squeezed Soraya's hand tighter. "We're a family now." Soraya's eyes glowed again. This time not from fear, but from something softer, stronger. "I will stay," she said. "I will face whatever comes." "With you?" Daniel stared at her, surprised by her courage. But before he could reply, loud, metallic knocks shook the entire door. The soldiers had arrived, and the biggest decision of their lives was seconds away. Asterisk heavy fists pounded the farmhouse door again and again. The sound echoed through every wall like thunder. Daniel stood firm, gripping the doorknob tightly. Lily hid behind Soraya, her small hand wrapped around the alien widow's fingers. Soraya's glowing markings pulsed with fear. But something stronger than fear now lived inside her, a new sense of belonging, a family. of something she thought she would never have again. A deep voice boomed from outside. "Open the door. This is the security division. You are hiding an unregistered alien. Step aside or we will force entry." Daniel looked back at Soraya. "Stay behind me," he whispered. "No matter what happens." He opened the door slowly. 4 armored soldiers stood outside, their helmets shining under the cold night lights. Behind them, villagers watched from a distance, whispering, pointing, waiting. The commander stepped forward, helmet under his arm, his face stern and tired. "Daniel Harper," he said, "you are accused of sheltering a hostile alien species. According to law, the alien must be taken into custody immediately." "She isn't hostile," Daniel said firmly. "She was starving. She needed help." "That is not your decision," the commander replied. "Hand her over." Soraya stepped forward before Daniel could stop her. "I will go," she said softly. "I don't want your people harmed because of me." Daniel turned to her quickly. "No. You don't have to do that. You belong here. With us." The commander frowned. "With you? She is an alien. She cannot stay in human homes." Lily suddenly ran forward, placing herself between the soldiers and Soraya. Her voice shook, but she shouted louder than the night wind. "Stop. You can't take her." The commander paused, surprised by the little girl's courage. Lily pointed at Soraya with trembling hands. "She saved me. She saved Daddy. She's not dangerous. She's our family." "That is irrelevant," the commander said. "The law," but Lily didn't let him finish. She stepped closer, eyes full of tears, and spoke the words that froze every soldier. "Every villager, even Daniel and Soraya, please, marry my dad." Silence fell heavy like a blanket over the entire street. Daniel's mouth opened in shock. Soraya stared at Lily as if she didn't understand human language anymore. The commander blinked, confused. Lily wiped her tears and continued, her voice powerful in its innocence. "If she marries my dad, she becomes family. And human law protects families. You can't take her if she chooses to stay with us." The soldiers exchanged glances. The villagers murmured loudly, stunned. Daniel felt his heart pounding. He looked at Soraya, the woman he had saved, the woman who protected his daughter, the woman who now looked at him with shining, trembling eyes. The commander cleared his throat. "She is a non-human citizen. Family law applies only if both parties agree willingly." Soraya stepped forward, her feet barely steady, her voice soft but full of emotion. "I have lost everything," she whispered. "But here, I found kindness. I found safety. I found." She looked at Daniel, her eyes glowing brighter. "I found a reason to stay alive." Daniel felt warmth spread through his chest. He reached out his hand slowly. Soraya placed her hand in his fragile, trembling, glowing dot. Daniel looked straight at the commander. "She stays with us," he said firmly. "As family." The commander hesitated. He looked at the villagers, then at the child clinging to Soraya's arm. Then at Daniel's steady expression. A long moment passed. Finally, the commander sighed and stepped back. By law, a declared family bond cannot be broken without consent. He nodded once. "Then she stays." Lily cheered and hugged Soraya tightly. Daniel pulled them both close. Soraya closed her eyes, overwhelmed. Her glowing markings spreading softly across her skin, not from fear, but from deep emotional connection. For the first time since her world collapsed, she felt truly safe. A starving alien widow had found hope, found family, found a new life, all because a brave little girl whispered the words that changed everything. HFY, humanity at its best.